people have been reaching out to me on where to start, what certification. I've always been one to be like, oh, well, the cert doesn't matter, it's where your continuing ed goes, because there's a period of time that a lot of people out there don't look at with him and say, wow, well, he's been doing this 10 years. How much reading have you done? How many mentorship programs or how many people have you learned underneath? But talk about Prescript, talk about your cert, why you started it, the industry, where's it going, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a decentralization around academia on the whole, right? Like, this will all stem from working in the Silicon Valley. Like, some of my best friends who are like software engineers never went to school. They like hacked in the fucking back end of some server at Google and said, knock, knock, hey guys, like you got a problem here. And rather than call the feds, they gave them a fucking job. I'm starting to see that in the fitness industry, like the market that emerged and the responsibility that we have in providers of continuing education, like the antiquated material that gets passed around. I mean, you can go pay a cert that'll tell you that your knees should go over your toes in a squat. It's like, it's 2019, guys. Like,
yeah.
We got to update the fucking software here. So we just saw kind of a lapse in thought process when it came to conventional programming, but everything from, you know, the mobility and stability side, which is kind of one sector, one facet of the industry, from like the purely strength training periodization, which is another facet, and then from like a rehabilitation, a sports performance. So like, we didn't really see anyone that looked through all these lenses at once to create like a concurrent thought process around exercise programming. So we designed the course based off of just a gap in the industry. Like, we didn't see anyone else doing it. We would start to take these blind man around the elephant proverb sort of courses. We're like, okay, this guy's kind of touching the tail, but this guy's sort of like touching the trunk. It's like, can someone give me a fucking full picture here?
Yeah.
So that was when we started to like really put things together. So we just launched our first, so I teach an online curriculum. Because what we teach is like, it's not a system, right? Like, it's a systems way of thinking, which a lot of certifications now, like they mitigate and they delegate responsibility to anyone to have any sort of moment of critical thinking. They're just like, oh, if it's this, then do this, this, this. It's like, yeah, but it's so multivariate.
So many
right?
variables, right?
Exactly. So rather than teaching like, here's a system, and if we can't jam like a Karen from accounting shaped peg into a Prescript shaped hole, then fuck Karen from accounting. It's like, no, man, like we can teach critical thinking if we have the right amount of mindfulness and awareness around the subject matter that we're teaching. So we had to go, I mean, we don't have to go online. We have intensive courses we teach in person in little pockets around the world that this cerebral thought process around training seems to be the most densely populated. But we do teach online just so we can start to get these high-level thinkers from across the world all in one place.
I'm showing up to the course, right? I'm there. What's the first thing we're going to go over? Like, can you walk me through like how this is going to be? You know, you're getting this across.
We walk history. We teach them how to go through active ranges of motion assessments. We take mobility prerequisites of shoulder, hip, and spine from those assessments. We're literally just going through a flow chart that we teach. Then we go, what are the stability and strength requirements based off the ranges of motion? What are the exercises that need to be practiced as skill? I think that's something that's massively overlooked in our industry. Like, you with a golf swing, right? We understand that a golf swing is skill. People don't realize that there's skill to a cable pec fly.
Yes.
And how do you verbally impart that to a client?
Yeah.
Right? How do you assess that? How do you have a critical eye to be like, you're doing that wrong?
What you're really describing right now, and I've been in it for a long time, it's a smarter way of training. It's a more intelligent approach to getting yourself not only to look better, but to actually feel and move better. And that's a component that I think we've lost a lot of with a lot of this group training out there, and a lot of coaches who aren't taking their education seriously, and they're not putting their clients through a screening process, and individuals just showing up and they're saying, all right, we're gonna squat because it's, you know, and we're gonna do lat pull down. And in time, looking at an individual, these are good movements, but in time, you're seeing these movement patterns get broken down. And I'm always like, listen, do what you enjoy, but on the other hand, if you've been training in a certain system for a period of time and you feel like your body's hurting more, like, you better know why that's going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's also that you need the right person to be involved in that, right? You can't just force somebody to want to learn it. You need the right people to be in the right mind frame.
No, but there's a lot of coaches out there that don't realize this approach.
But there's also a lot of people out there that don't care. So you need to find the ones that do, right? Like, you don't just work with anybody, and I'm sure you don't either. You don't need to at this point. No. You want to work with the people who are motivated to make the changes that they tell you they want to make, or hit the goals that they tell you want to make. But I mean, it's just that I know a lot of people that, and we talked about it, they'll do anything just to get out and run around.
Right.
And it's like, you know,
it's better than sitting on the couch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and I get that.
But it's also like you can't get to, you know, putting up PR numbers like Jordan without knowing, or you shouldn't, without knowing what you're doing and why, because later on you're going to be, you know, walking around hunchback.
Well, I think the biggest part is the division between this smart camp of training and this working hard camp of training. Like, we got to own that. Like, there's a reason that this hasn't caught on until this point, because the heaviest thing that most of these guys who teach this smart style of training lift is a fucking clipboard, right? Yeah. Like, you got to realize, like, I got clients that the only reason I got them is because they're fucking dogs. Like, they're dogs and they got to hunt. And if they're not in the gym, and if you're worried about, like, I mean, know the minutia, know it down to the fucking cellular level. But at the end of the day, you got to know the thing you're training most is between the ears.
When you do the in-person courses, is it like a weekend thing? Is it a week? Like how long is it? And what's the?
Yeah, so both
how
courses.
Much dough do I gotta?
Both courses work out to be 16 hours. So we do 2 8-hours in person. Those are intensives. Or for those who live in like our classes, I have to teach at odd times just to pick up the different time zones. Like we're in Asia, we're in Australia, we're in the UK. So midweek, I'm kind of on calls with our students throughout the day and into the night. So the in-person course, 2-day intensive, $1,500 US. We won't. I think we're already sold out for our January online. We'll only hold 30 per semester.
So Jordan, where can everyone find you if they're interested in taking the certification? Where do they go, and your social handle?
Yeah. So right now we're waitlisting for our next couple of courses. We're running this one through the end of the year. December 19th will be the last class, so we'll graduate our coaches December 19th. Start up in the new year, and to get on the wait list, it's www.pre-script.com. Instagram at @the_muscle_doc, and then Instagram for Prescript is @pre_script.
And are you competing anytime soon?
Arnold Classic in Australia and Melbourne, March, mid to late March next year.
Very cool. Yeah. Nice, man. Well,
all right, well, good luck.
Thanks,
Check
Jordan
out my
Shallow.
buddy Jordan Shallow.
Yeah.
Prescript, best certification on the market. Check him out. That's it.
Yeah, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back later.